coming up on Saturday. I mean, hard to believe the first road trip's probably one of the top teams to actually face.
Yeah, obviously it's going to be a huge test for this team. We hadn't played on the road yet, we played really well at home. Obviously the first 4 games, and we got a lot of young guys who never experienced an atmosphere on the road yet. And Virginia Tech's going to be kind of a baptism by fire for them. They hadn't really experienced the road game, so they're going probably to one of the hardest places you can play on the road. And it's just going to be one of those games where we're just going to have to get in it, learn the atmosphere quick, and be able to succeed, and take all the emotion and all the yelling at us and kind of use it as energy. Kind of use it in a positive way. And it's just what as a veteran, you learn to do that over the years, and it's going to be huge for us to be able to take that energy and use it to help us instead of kind of let it defeat us.
A lot of times, teams don't like to play one tough game after another. Coach Sweeney was saying earlier he thinks it might be a positive because you guys have been able to build a lot of momentum off these last two.
That's kind of funny you asked that, because I was reading actually something from John Madden the other day, and I think the quote was, "The road to an easy street goes through the sewer." And it kind of reminds me of our schedule. It's just been one tough game after another, one champion after another. And it's nothing's given to you. You can't go to the ACC championship just by looking pretty and coming off the bus and having a bunch of athletes. And obviously we have a lot of athletes, but we got to go through this schedule in order to get where we want to get, and that's the ACC championship, and that's the Orange Bowl, obviously. So, we got to beat Virginia Tech. And, some people say, they beat Florida State. They don't have to beat Virginia Tech in order to stay in the ACC, division title race, whatever. We do. In my mind and in our guys' mind, we don't accept losing. It's not. It's a different mentality around here than in the past. And it's going to be like I said earlier. Going to Virginia Tech is a tough atmosphere, but for this team to be able to go there and get a win would be tremendous for this program. To be able to show, it's a different year, different team, different mentality. And I think that's what we're going to be able to do this week. I think it starts by today, obviously having a good practice, and tomorrow having a good practice. I think we're going to have probably some noise stuff out at practice to kind of get us ready for that. But it's definitely a different game when you go on the road, and to be able to handle that, if we can handle it like we've handled home games, it's going to be huge.
What type of ability do you want to click more in the last 2 weeks?
I think.
Is it just sheer reps?
No, it has a lot to do with who we played. People. It's crazy. We get kind of called soft and all this and that. But people don't watch the film after the game. They don't see what we went up against. You have to slow play teams who blitz you every play, and when you play teams that play you straight up, we're successful. And it's not that we're not successful against teams that don't do that. It's just when you play teams that try to confuse you the whole game, you can't be physical. You can't come out there and just smash them off the ball because they're going to move every play. And that's the way to other people who watch the game, they're like, I didn't do nothing. Well, you can't come off the ball hard. So when we play Virginia Tech, they're going to do a lot of that stuff too. We don't know how they're going to play us right now. On film, they've done a lot of stuff against Marshall. They've done a lot of stuff against these Arkansas State, these other teams they played. So it'll be interesting to see how they play us, as far as how much they blitz and how much movement they give us. But I think they're going to, I think they're just, it's Virginia Tech. They're going to do what they do. I don't think they're going to change anything for Clemson. They're going to step up in the first, second quarter and do exactly what they've been doing.
Can you talk about what a difference a year makes? A year ago, a loss to Auburn, come home, a loss to Miami, but now it's 4-0 instead of 2-2.
Yeah, it's a different team, different year. The biggest thing, different. That last year's last year. We weren't successful last year, but that's then. This team doesn't. We don't accept losing. When we play a game, we expect to win. Obviously, when we go on the road to Virginia Tech this weekend in one of the toughest atmospheres in the conference and in the nation, we expect to win. We don't expect the fans to beat us. We don't expect the crowd noise to affect the way we do things. We expect to be prepared in order to handle that, and that's a mature team. A championship team can do that. A championship team can take good things they do at home and go on the road and win in Virginia Tech and wherever else you got to play. You got to be able to do that to be because if you can't win on the road at Virginia Tech, in my mind, you don't deserve to be there. If you can't win games on the road, then what are you going to do when you play in the SEC championship? Because it's not at home. You got to be able to win on the road. You got to be able to win somewhere else. You got to be able to be successful in other places than home when the crowd's got your back.
talking about different team, different players. I mean, nobody on this team was around the last time you guys went to Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
That was kind of the game that forged the reputation for this team not being as physically tough.
Yeah, well, I don't even know if I committed to Clemson when that thing happened. So that's how long ago it was. So, you know, when, like you said, it was a different team. There's not one guy on this team. There's not many coaches on this team that was here when that happened. Coach Sweeney, and I guess Coach Sweeney might be, golly, is that it?
Brad.
Coach Scott?
Yeah.
And he's really not even a coach anymore. So, you know, nobody's even around that knew what that felt like. You know, that obviously that was, you know, I seen it on TV. That wasn't a very good game from Clemson, but that I wasn't a part of Clemson. So
just a chance to make the statement though on what this team, this coaching staff, the toughness that you guys want to have.
Yeah.
A chance to.
Exactly. Like I said, to be able to go on the road and beat Virginia Tech, you know, Beamer ball, all that hype, Virginia Tech, and they've came in ever since they've stepped in the ACC. They've been the dominant team. You know, they've won what 4 ACC championships since they've been in the conference, something like that. So it's, you know, that's ridiculous to me. You know how a team just stepped. They've only been in the conference not even 10 years yet, right? So to be able to come into the conference and dominate like they have is it's an awesome thing. But to be able to beat a team who's made that kind of progress in such little time says a lot about us. And Clemson used to be the dominant team in the conference, you know, in the 80s and 90s. But like I said, it's a totally different team. So it's tough to say, you know. I think if you can take a lot of young guys who haven't been on the road like that and who haven't seen that kind of atmosphere, and I think our young guys are going to be more excited than they've ever been to play, because I love going on the road. You know, I love playing here in Death Valley, but you know, going on the road and that experience has always been one of my favorite things about playing college football, because I mean, how many times can you get booed? You know, it's just awesome. I love it. You know, coming out. You know, I love getting called fat. You know, running out there. It's fun for me. And I think we take it and we laugh about it and play hard. You know, I think it's fun. And I think, you know, just the memorable times I've had on the road with other guys. You know, like Boston College, where you just get your name calling and all. It's fun. And I think for us to experience that, it's going to be, you know, as fun as a team, and to be able to go in there and win at Virginia Tech, that's going to be something that's going to be, you know, the plane ride back is, you know, it's going to be an experience for all of us. So we got to just prepare this week like we're playing, you know, this next best team. So every game we play is the most important game.
How can you help some of these young guys that have never been on a road trip, as far as everything from what to pack to what to expect on a plane?
I think there's probably a few guys who hadn't even been on a plane ride I was hearing before, so that's kind of funny to me. But the thing about that is to like in practice, just let them know, you know, you're preparing for, you know, it's the football field's 100 yards and what 53 and something like 2/3 of the way. So I mean, it's the same football field. You're playing the same game. The only difference is there's people yelling at you, and that's fun. Like I said, it's fun, and if you can't take that energy and positively take it and want to do well to silence the crowd. That's the funnest thing ever. Is when we went to probably Miami 2 years ago, and we were able to. I mean, it was up and down the whole game. Don't get me wrong, but to just watch the crowd get up and go down, get up and go down, that's fun. And I think that you know, for us offensive linemen to be able to enjoy that, and for the offense to be able to, you know, have that to look forward to, is going to be huge Saturday. So I think, you know, it's obviously it comes back to preparation. If we can prepare for, I'm sure we're going to get crowd noise at practice today and tomorrow, and probably Thursday. So that'll help obviously the way we run offense, because we got to prepare for the motions and how we, you know, snap the ball. That's not easy. But like I said, we have a lot of guys up front who's been in a lot of, you know, Auburn last year. We've been Florida State 3 years. You know, we've played a lot of hard places to play. So, you know, I think we're used to it. And the best thing about it is the young guys are receivers. You know, we don't have a freshman center on the road. We don't have a freshman tackle on the road. So I think we'll be okay as far as that's concerned.
So that can be a really big deal for a young offensive line in particular, playing in a hostile environment.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, snap count is huge on the road. I mean, you saw Florida State this past weekend. You had those couple veteran tackles who jumped off sides a couple times. And I'm not going to speak before, you know, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Hopefully that don't happen. But, you know, I think we have the veteran guys who, even if that did happen, the next play, it's not going to be in their head. You know, like I said, that stuff happens. So freshman offensive line, if that happens, he's going to kind of whimper out, kind of get scared, and every play after that's going to be his worst play of the year. And that's how I think about that. And I've been there, and it stays in your head when you do bad on the road. Especially if you're young, you don't realize the situation, and you can't get it out of your head. A bad play, a bad snap, a bad off penalty, whatever. So it's huge being veterans on the offensive line going in the Lane Stadium. So it'll be hopefully it'll work to our advantage.
What's the toughest part about effectively working a silent snap count?
What's the what?
What's the most difficult part?
Timing for tackles. Being able to know exactly when the ball is going to be snapped and kind of getting that consistency of the timing over and over and over. I mean, when you first get in the game, your nerves are a little bit high. You're kind of excited, and you want to get off the ball as fast as you can, and you don't really know if he can see the ball as fast as you can. So it's really mental. You got to prepare mentally and be focused in more than you are at home on watching the ball and watching Dalton's head when he comes up and how long he's going to count until he snaps the ball. It's just a tremendous amount of focus on the road. But after the first 20 plays or so, you're kind of locked in and you get used to it. But you don't want to get too comfortable, because then that's when something bad could happen. So obviously it's a lot of focus.
So the process, you're watching Dalton's head.
Yeah, that's how it works. Every team that goes to silent count, it's all off the center. It's up to him when he snaps the ball, and to be able to see exactly when he comes up. And I mean, we all have obviously the snap count. I don't want to say that, but because I don't want to give them any kind of advantage. But we know in practice when he's going to snap the ball, but they'll take that to a place where the crowd's screaming and he might be a little anxious. So you got to make sure everybody's on the same page and everybody's got to have a tremendous amount of focus.
Does that kind of thing get changed up at any point during a game?
It does. Obviously depending on what they do. If they get used to it and they're pretty good at getting off the ball real fast, you obviously want to change it up on them. So it just depends on how they respond to it. If they know exactly how we're snapping the ball every time, then obviously you can't do the same thing.
So, and not to try to get you to go into in depth of what you guys do, but I mean, it's not like you guys just say, okay, we'll go 15 plays and they'll count this long and we'll change it to this.
Well, like I said, that depends. In the past, we've always done it off the other team, depending on how they responded to the snap count. If they, obviously like a team like Florida State, they figure your snap count out pretty fast, and they start timing up, how the snap is actually done. So we'll see if Virginia Tech can do that. If they do that, then we'll have to change it up. We're obviously not going to give them any kind of advantage like that.
Last two games, you really start to see the tempo have the effect of getting the 80-plus snaps.
Yeah.
How has that been as an offensive lineman? You look like, particularly you could see you and Phillip toward the end of this last game, that the heat and everything just kind of wears on guys.
It does. The best thing about that is the first two games of the season, we're used to, in the past, the last 3 years, I've been used to getting out after the first half because they've been 30-0 games. And this year we hadn't had that. And kind of the first two games were really kind of, on the line, so we were getting used to what we've done. And obviously it does wear you down throughout the game, but we're used to it now. And I think as a veteran player, you have to push through that. And you get to points in the game where you're like, man, I wish I had somebody come in for me, but you suck it up. It's part of football. You learn to suck it up and play, and you start taking off plays, and that's a problem. But I don't think we have that problem. Obviously our body language sometimes speaks louder than actions. But if I might show I'm hurting a little bit before the play, but if I can get down and still do the same thing I did the first play of the game, then there's nothing wrong there.
Do you see or hear it taking a toll on the opposing defensive lineman, like
Yeah.
say Florida State or Auburn?
Most definitely, you could definitely see it taking a toll on them, and that's a awesome thing to see because it's hurting us too. So I mean, when they're getting tired and you're a little bit tired, it's easy. It helps your mind a little bit. So I think obviously, I'm sure Virginia Tech will be 100% prepared for our offense. I mean, they'll probably be running and stuff all week. So it's just one of those things. If we can have that advantage, it's good. But I mean, it's obviously one of those offenses that kind of wears you down and them down. So hopefully, the hope is that you wear them down more than you would get worn down. So.
How do you prepare for a game like this? They're intimidating.
Yeah.
They talk a lot of trash.
Yeah.
Last time Clemson played there, went after the quarterback. Changed the whole complexion of the game.
Virginia Tech's really, that's Virginia Tech. They're a team that intimidates a lot of other teams when they come into Virginia Tech. When you can do that, that's an advantage for your team. When you can, if you know every team that comes into there is a little bit skittish, but I don't think we're intimidated. I think we got a team who's honestly up front we're veterans, but we're too young to be intimidated. You know, these guys are so young, they don't really understand. You know, they're not who they're going to be scared of. You know, they've been so successful that intimidation's not a factor. The factor is how focused you can be. You can't be enough focus for this game. You can't go into this game and prepare enough. So you got to prepare today, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, like your life depends on it. Because come Saturday, if you do that, the game's going to be easy. Because obviously we're going to get some noise factors in practice today and tomorrow. And if you could focus and kind of put yourself in a game situation today and tomorrow, it's going to really make a difference Saturday. Because I don't think we play anybody better than we practice against. That's my personal opinion, and nothing against our opponent. We have a great defensive line, and but obviously everybody is either, definitely up to par. I'm saying we definitely play some good teams, and Virginia Tech's another great defense, and what they do with, Coach Foster there, they do a lot of things to kind of confuse you and keep you guessing every play. So to build a focus and prepare for them is going to be huge for us, and if we can do that, then it's going to be it's kind of scary what this team can be able to do this year.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.